Hey, welcome to another episode of Zombies, Man. They freak me out. Please like and subscribe and leave in the comments what movie you want us to do next. Now, Pete, what is our first movie we're doing today?
We are talking about Patient Zero, a movie that's appropriately titled because I give it 0 stars.
Now, why do you give it 0 stars? I'm curious.
Where to start? Okay, so I'd never heard of this movie until you suggested it. And so I assumed this was like some asylum film or something like that, especially based on, the ratings I saw on it. I'm like, okay, well, this is just some low budget little cheapie with nobody in it. And then I saw the link you sent me. Fucking Stanley Tucci's in this.
Yeah.
Oscar nominee Stanley Tucci's in this. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Every once in a while, movies will like save up their budget, get one big star to show up for 2 days. Maybe it's one of those situations. And then I kept watching. Like, Matt Smith is the star of this movie at like the peak of his fame. And like half the cast of Game of Thrones is in this. And I'm like, so I have theories about what happened because you can't attract this much talent if there hadn't been like a really good start. And I think they got everyone on board and then maybe budget fell through or the script suddenly started to suck and everyone just stopped trying. Like, but to the point of this having an amazing cast, seriously, everyone in this movie is overqualified. Why is Matt Smith American in this movie?
What accent is he doing?
It's amazing. So normally when Brits do American accents, they will like just flat non-regional diction.
Yeah.
But he's clearly trying to go for like it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like
Like Brooklyn,
Chicago.
like some sort of inner city street guy.
Yeah, it was an amalgamation of every like northern urban accent.
And it kind of
It was
flows
so,
in
but
and
the thing
out.
is, there was one moment at the beginning. First off, the premise of this movie is kind of interesting,
Hmm.
which is that he can interrogate zombies, which feels like this. I can see why you picked this because there's a clear through line between this and Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Um, but like, I don't know why. Like, if you look at the cast, the only known American in this cast is Stanley Tucci. Um, and like, I want to know how bad Natalie Dormer's American accent was. So they were like, you know what? Let your character can be English.
My theory is that Matt Smith did this movie because they said, yes, you can do an American accent for an entire movie. And he wanted to show that he could do an American accent for an entire
And
movie.
he did not.
He did an accent. He definitely did an accent.
Well, what's amazing is during that first scene when he gets pulled away from the zombie, um, he's really just digging into whatever American accent he's trying for. And he just screams, I was making progress. And I'm like, okay, your English is seriously showing, man. No American says progress.
Exactly. Like, you could have just been a British.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, what? Why'd they have to be American?
he wasn't an American soldier, right? Now he was walking around in like half a uniform, but it's a zombie movie. Um, he could have just been British, and
And
because
the thing
like
is,
he was a record store guy, right? Like I do like how he's a classic rock. Now, granted, okay, maybe I'm just looking at this in reflection to Day of the Dead, where there's not really any character development outside of the local character's geographic region of origin. But I loved how he was a classic rock guy and he had like a record store. He had like an actual like story, right? And but like you could have been British and a classic rock guy.
yeah, like most of the musicians he was playing were British too.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, there's a couple of flashbacks where we see, because they're in the bunker for most of the movie, but these flashbacks of him back when he and his wife lived in America. But it's so clearly England, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's English architecture.
I have never had the pleasure of going to the United Kingdom, but I think you spent like a year there, right? Like you studied there for a semester?
Well, I used to live in Wales, but I've been to England like a dozen times.
Yeah.
Um, and so like like the I hate that I don't know the actor's name, but the fat guy from Game of Thrones is
Yeah.
his
Scooter.
obligatory fat. Yeah.
Scooter's
Did you?
British.
Oh, he's totally British.
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Um, but yeah, once again, he sure is doing an American accent right there, where it's like, huh, we could do the lab work on the zombies. And I'm
Say
like, but
goodbye
just be
to Tommy
British.
for me.
Like, all right, like I think there was this idea that they wanted to like, because I mean, we all know zombie movies are really big on like allegory.
Yeah.
And I think there was this sort of generic, the same way that Day of the Dead had like they used the military to make a statement about, like different forces or the military industrial complex or how the military will cost your humanity the way that becoming a zombie does.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know if, I mean, maybe with a few more drafts they could have gotten something because this movie is all about interrogation, which is a big component of the military.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
I didn't even think of it from that perspective. I picked this movie outside of the other two Day of the Dead remakes because let's be honest, this is the best of the Day of the Dead remakes. The
glowing
others,
praise.
it's yeah, because they have like Matt Smith and Stanley Tucci and Natalie Dormer in this. I picked this because I actually like this movie. It's not high art, but it scratches all of the cheesy sort of like zombie movies that I love. For what it is, it does a good job for me because like all of the characters, they kind of have like a lot of the characters have some development, right? Day of the Dead, they had nothing. Scooter has a kid who turns out to be secretly dead, right? You kind of see it coming, but still, it's something. And maybe it's just a low bar because Romero's movies were all about, theme and allegory and societal critique. And this wasn't that, it didn't feel like, but it felt like what a remake of Day of the Dead should be. It should be the essential premise, but turn on its head a little bit, where one of the characters can talk to a zombie. Like one of them's immune and not all of them
Also,
have like sort of character development because Natalie Dormer, she plays a hot scientist who is also hot and a scientist, right?
well, I mean, there was that through line, The Day of the Dead, because like one of the protagonists of that movie is a female scientist who's constantly being undermined by an asshole army officer.
Yeah. And Natalie Dormer says, at ease, Colonel, the party's just beginning, which is something that you would say for a movie trailer. And not like as a person in real life would talk, I don't think.
But I mean, there's more to her character than being a scientist and a hot scientist. She's also a pregnant hot scientist.
Bechdel test, what's that?
She does talk to the zombie wife, so technically it passes the Bechdel test.
Oh, oh, so okay. So I'm a married guy, right? And I talked to my wife about this. And I gave her the skinny, and I was like, okay, in this movie, Doctor Who can speak to zombies, right? And Doctor Who's wife is like two-thirds of a zombie, right? But Doctor Who's mistress slash hot scientist girlfriend is making a serum to keep that one-third of his wife's humanity in check. At the end of the movie, the dude breaks out his wife, his mostly feral zombie wife, with his girlfriend. And they go off together. And I'm like, that's a bold fucking move, Cotton. Like,
And it worked.
and it worked. Then at the end, his wife is like, yeah, go run off with Natalie Dormer. I'm like, no, that bitch would rip her fucking face to pieces and eat her. Like, that's not how marriage works. There's no woman in the world who would be cool with her husband running off with his girlfriend. That doesn't happen.
Well, all right. Because the thing is, as we've established, this movie had potential.
Yes.
Um, but then, like for me, the moment I think when I just lost. I mean, first off, this is from the die-hard school of air ducts that are big enough to fit multiple people.
Yeah.
Um, just also they conveniently fall apart once the bad guys are chasing them, and it's like, okay, that was good of them.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's
Um,
like zombie rats in there and stuff.
which was a cool idea. Like the idea of the zombie rats pursuing them. I mean, like in a better movie, that would have been like a plot situation. Like it was just sort of like they have to outrun the rat. They can outrun the humans, but they can't outrun the rats.
Yeah,
And that gets handled by zombie wife real fast.
exactly. She's
She's
just
just
like,
like, and dead.
don't worry, I'm gonna protect my husband's girlfriend. And no, in no universe would that happen. I'm like, for me, that's the most unrealistic part of the entire movie.
For me, the most unrealistic part of the movie was in the final battle scene when Matt Smith, spoilers, kills Stanley Tucci by impaling him on what actually doesn't look to be that sharp of an object, but it also impales Matt Smith. And I'm like, oh, they're both dead. So maybe
Yeah.
like the zombie girlfriend and the living girlfriend will move on right as a kid. I don't know. But the thing is, Matt Smith impales himself on blunt object, pulls himself off, and is like, come on, we need to escape now. I'm like, at a minimum, you have a punctured lung.
Yeah, right. That's where your lung lives,
You
right?
have been impaled. You should probably not be running right now.
I wasn't a doctor, but I used to play medic 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer a long time ago. You're unlike like the pizza, you're dead in 30 minutes, right? Like that's called a tension pneumothorax. Like that is that unless you have massive surgical, you're not gonna drive your girlfriend off on a motorcycle into the night. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, like, give her the keys, man.
Give her the keys. I will
You
say
are
some
at,
good things about this movie, though. Well, first of all, I'll say some bad things. Uh, so they do have a Colonel Rhodes type character named Colonel Knox, who, yes, I had to look up his name because it doesn't really matter. And he has like real, I think, private first class energy, which tells me he was probably a lieutenant that was in charge of the local gymnasium on the base and then put Colonel on his uniform, but when the world fell apart and and he's jealous of who I'm just going to refer to as hot scientist because she's banging Doctor Who. But to her credit, he's Doctor Who, and Colonel, not Colonel Rhodes, looks like a potato, right? And he also has the survival skills of a potato because when they bring in bodies and they're like, oh, our guy's died. It's sad. One's a zombie. It takes that dude 3 dead guys in about 45 minutes to find the gun that's on the ground, right?
well, what pissed me off about that scene is I'm like, why are they sparing Stanley Tucci other than he's the most, like acclaimed actor in this movie? Sort of like it's like no, no, no. We need one zombie to survive so we can interrogate him. I'm like, how convenient that it's the name above the title.
I I get the feeling he lied to hot scientists about Ranger School. That was my first thought. But yeah, no, I love Stanley Tucci in this, and I get the feeling the Tooch, who I'm going to call him that from here on out, just wanted to like twirl a mustache and be a villain, right? He's like, yeah, we're going to have some fun with it. I'm going to be a monster, and he fucking crushes it because he's Stanley Tucci, and that's what he does you know. And then you get this cool flashback scene, and then like he's a teacher, and then the zombies hit the school, and then by the time he gets home, he's already a zombie, and he just murders his wife. And then there's a line that Tucci delivers that's so fucking cold, where he says, "I wish I could have told that girl I wasn't her daddy anymore." Right? That line is haunting.
Well, I had a theory about why you picked this movie, which is in the flashback scene when we see Stanley Tucci as a professor. I'm like, did Derwin pick this because he looks like me?
Now that you mention it, like I watch
And
Steve
it's just
Burns'
like, oh,
podcast because it reminds me of you because it looks like you. So yeah,
I was just like, okay, so I look like pre-zombie Stanley Tucci. It's like I've heard worse.
and post zombie Stanley Tucci.
Oh, well, all right. I have so many thoughts about the zombie army that they have,
Hit me.
based out of Minnesota. Uh, of all the accents they could have stuck to, maybe they should have all just had Minnesota accents. Um,
Yeah.
because at least then it'd be focused instead of just generic American city accent. Um, but like, yeah, so Stanley Tucci's a professor from Minnesota who leads an army of zombies. Um, and I'm like, okay, so do these zombies also do PT in their free time? Because they're all very physically fit.
Oh, there's a CrossFit Academy.
Oh yeah, like, and they're all like showing off parkour moves as they're
Yeah.
like killing people. I'm like, okay, Stanley Tucci, you might be a soulless zombie, but you are at least training your troops.
God, he just looks good with his shirt off. That's what I'm saying.
Ah, so you're saying I should become a zombie paratrooper?
I think so.
I could I finally get those six pack abs.
You get your 300 PT score, Pete. It'll be great.
It's 500 now
Oh,
with the
well,
times.
listen, I've been out for 5 years.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bab.
Yeah, no, I'm good. So what I loved here and how it tied into a lot of the Romero stuff is because it builds on the idea that the zombies can evolve, right? If Romero had one idea he really liked, it was that zombies evolved and became like superhumans or something. Because you had one of the zombies that Matt Smith nicknamed Pete Townsend came
Yeah.
in. He had a tracking chip, right? The Zombie King put a tracking chip in one of his foot soldiers to find out where the humans were hiding. Like, I love the world building they have. I love how they build on the sort of ideas that Romero had in the original. They talk about like the Vegas compound and you know, how they were like, hey, the zombies are evolving and they didn't listen and they lost Vegas, you know, like the ideas here, like I put my writer hat on, my editor hat on. A lot of the ideas they set up and they pay off. Now, granted, that should be like a minimum of things, but I'm watching this and I'm like, this is a cheap, low budget movie. But in terms of story structure, A leads to B, which leads to C.
I mean, this movie really wants to be 28 Days Later. Um, and my favorite thing about the movie 28 Days Later is the soundtrack. Now, we've got a couple of interesting needle drops in this, but I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, you get the right composer. I feel like this movie could have been salvaged because right now, the star quality is like ready for prime time.
Yeah.
The execution is the 99-cent bin.
It feels like because like how do you because Matt Smith makes sense, and maybe they were just like they shot this during like an off season of Game of Thrones, and they went to London. They just got everybody. They said, "Hey, who wants to be in a cheap zombie movie?" That could make
You can
sense.
practice your American accent.
You can practice your American accent. You don't got to be in a dirty shirt the whole time. No more mud. We're indoors, right? It's climate controlled. It'll be great, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Matt Smith would have been an easy sell because it's like practice your American accent and make out with Natalie Dormer.
There's harder in like, and you get to have like a love triangle, right?
Yeah, you have two beautiful women, one of whom is actually human, fighting for you.
Exactly.
It's like I could take it.